Pokemon Masters, Birdkeeper Toby here, and welcome back. Welcome to a brand new year of the channel. Thank you for clicking on my videos. Where am I right now? I'm in the YouTube space London. The date for me today is January 9th. It's obviously the future for you, where my channel is back for a brand new year. And usually I wouldn't tell you the date I'm filming, except today's date is significant because on today, January 9th, 2020, they announced the Pokemon Isle of Armor, Isle of Wight here in the UK, by the way, that's what it is. The Isle of Armor and the Crown Tundra. I'm not sure where the Crown Tundra is supposed to be based off of. Anyway, the Crown Tundra and the Isle of Armor just got announced. Sorry, what? There's an expansion pass for Pokemon now? There's DLC to Pokemon as opposed to Pokemon Platinum or Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon or Black and White 2. Yeah, I'm very okay with this. Let's face it, Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon were jokingly referred to as the Ultra DLC, and I can't help but feel like Pokemon have taken that feedback on board, and here they are implementing it in the form of a non-full price new game, but instead a DLC pack, which I'm super stoked about. Now, at the beginning of January, usually I like to take a little bit of time off. I say time off. I just don't upload, and then I'm working on videos for the channel, for my channel relaunch, 5 new videos to launch the brand new year, and they are all here. Here are all of my lovely thumbnails I've been working on, I've been preparing, and then one of them, my top 10 Kanto Pokemon, that's getting booted into next week in placement of this video, because yeah, we had an announcement while I'm away, and I'm pretty excited. And this isn't just a news recap, I actually have a big prediction to come at the end. There are 2 big bits of evidence in these DLC passes that the next games are going to be Diamond and Pearl remakes. Nearly said Sword and Shield remakes, that would make no sense. They're gonna be Diamond and Pearl remakes. But just quickly before I get into that, quick recap. Galarian Slowpoke going to evolve into Galarian Slowking or Slowbro depending on items that you get in the DLC packs. That's really cool. There's gonna be more Galarian forms, more regional variants. I'm all for it. And yeah, I guess that means that's going to expand the evolution tree even further. I don't know what form that's gonna look like or how that's gonna go, but I will probably be making videos on that throughout the year. And you know, we've also got a Gigantamax Venusaur and Gigantamax Blastoise, loads of new old legendary Pokemon returning. The Pokedex is expanding. There is a lot to like here. There's also a ton of new legendary Pokemon. There's the bear one that evolves into its 2 different bear versions depending on Sword or Shield. Kerfu and Urshifu, sorry, more new names to get used to. And the Psychic Grass type, Calyrex. Rex, of course, meaning king, and it is part of the Crown Tundra. It is the legendary Pokemon that ruled over. So, yeah, it's a Grass Psychic, and it looks pretty cool. I'm interested to learn more about these legendary Pokemon, and how do they tie into Zacian and Zamazenta, if at all. I literally, at the end of last year, said that there is another legendary Pokemon hidden within the Galar region. It's the Basilisk thing on the top of Hammerlock. So I fully expect that we're going to see that maybe in one of these expansions or in another expansion. But there is even more going on. First of all, I have to gush just very quickly about Galarian Moltres, Zapdos, and Articuno, whose types, I'm guessing, Zapdos, it looks like it's based off of a flightless bird, so I'm guessing it's going to be electric ground. Moltres is like a dark phoenix, and not the rubbish movie from last year, I mean a dark phoenix, so I'm guessing for that, dark fire type. And then the best one by far, Articuno, has always been my favorite legendary bird of the trio, but it looks like we're getting a Galarian Articuno, which is ice and maybe psychic type. It looks awesome, and I'm gonna say it right now, these 3 versions of the legendary birds look better than the original legendary birds. There, I said it, I'm looking forward to that Pokemon movie 2000 with the revamped images of the new Pokemon. Or maybe they'll do a Lugia to match the trio. Anyway, that's not important right now. That stuff is all incredible, but there are 2 brand new Pokemon that I want to talk about that I think hint very heavily towards Sinnoh Remakes. I'm now wondering, because of these DLCs, if they won't be out this year, but actually they'll be out next year, and then that'll mark the end of the generation. But they could still come this year. I don't know. Oh, and Mystery Dungeon's coming out, which I've never played before, so maybe I'll give that a go on the Switch. Right, let's get on with it. I'm sorry, I'm teasing you. You definitely want to hear about it. Okay, 2 new Regis. We have Regice, Regirock, Registeel, Regigigas, and now what I'm assuming is Regilight and Regidark. Now you might be like, isn't that Regithunder? But the thing is, if you're introducing 2, it makes sense for them to parallel each other. And it's really confusing at first when you look at the Regidark, the red one with the black bits, whether that's actually a dark type Pokemon. If you look closely, you realize it looks very similar to Yveltal's design, another dark type Pokemon, and it makes sense for, rather than more elemental types, Like, this clearly isn't Regi Water or Regi Grass or anything like that. It makes sense to kind of have a dark and light parallel here. But Pokemon doesn't have a light type, so instead it's going to use electricity here to parallel it. So I think we've got Regi Dark and Regi Light. And here's why this, unbelievably, points to Sinnoh Remakes. Here's the thing, if they're going to do Sinnoh Remakes, I think they want to remain relatively faithful to the original depictions of these games, and those were the first games to introduce Regigigas in the temple at the end of the game. In Snowpoint City, you go to a temple, and if you've transferred up Regirock, Regice, and Registeel from Ruby, Sapphire, or Emerald, can you then access the temple and catch Regigigas, which is a really cool gimmick. Except here's the thing, if Diamond and Pearl Remakes came out today, the games before them are not Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald, and there aren't Regis in Sword and Shield so far. The Regis don't play a particularly big role in the games even before that. They're not really in, well, they're not in Let's Go at all. They're through wormholes in Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. And you know, some requirement where your Regis needed to come from the Hoenn region in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire where you could get Regigigas anyway. We're a whole remake on from that. So how do you tie the Snowpoint Temple event into the current generation in a more interesting and dynamic way? You make the Regis part of the DLC, and now you add these additional Regis. I suspect that to get into Snowpoint Temple in the Diamond and Pearl remakes to catch Regigigas, which by the way was not in this trailer, because it's gonna be in the Diamond Pearl remakes as part of the same generation, that you will need to catch and obtain the 3 Regis, and now the 2 new Regis from the Sword and Shield DLC. And you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and assume that they might even be version exclusive, which will be a bit of a pain to get them, but that's the idea, and it makes Regigigas a really big prize in Snowpoint City. If that doesn't sound right to you and you're not convinced about a Sinnoh remake, well then in that case, sit your butt down. You're probably already sitting down. No one stands up and watches this video. I'm the only one standing up right now. But here's the thing, they basically confirmed the Sinnoh Underground is coming back. See, we've already said that the wild area is like the coolest bit of Sword and Shield, yada yada yada, everyone knows that. But the Isle of Armor and the Crown Tundra, these areas are wild areas in and of themselves. You walk around them freely, there are dens, there's all that stuff, and in the Tundra specifically, you can go underground and there are dens. Now, does that sound familiar to you in any way? Going underground, the Sinnoh Underground, and it even states it's a new form of co-op play. And the big feature about the Sinnoh Underground was the way that it's cooperative. The secret bases, the capture the flag, all that stuff. And here's the thing, one of the things I've already talked about on this channel, and not to toot my own horn, but I've kind of called it already, is the wild area is a staple of this generation. If they're going to do Diamond and Pearl remakes, they're going to want to do a wild area within those games so that they can continue making Gigantamax forms for Sinnoh Pokemon, so that they can keep on exploring those ideas and enhancing, you know, making those remakes enhancements. And where do you put a wild area into Sinnoh? You have 3 options. Number 1 I've thought about is the Great Marsh. I think that's totally possible. I think the Great Marsh is one of the slower areas of the game, and that whole route connecting Hearthhome down to Pistoria City, well, that whole route is pretty optional, certainly in Pokemon Platinum, and the whole Great Marsh area could be totally revamped to be a wild area, make it more interesting, give it some replay value. Maybe they'll do that. Maybe they'll do this the route that is north of Mount Cornet leading up to Snow Peak. Again, that snowy area is kind of slow because you get bogged down, but it's a very big area and would work perfectly for a wild area. But the option that I've been the most convinced about, and again I've talked about it on the channel, the area that I am most sure of that needs a revamp if it's coming to Switch, is the Sinnoh Underground. I mean, look at the Sinnoh Underground, look at its gameplay. It's all top down, it's designed for the DS, you can see beyond the walls of the game. This wouldn't work on the Nintendo Switch, but it's a big, open, cooperative area. And now that we know that dens go underground, it makes so much sense to me that this should be a wild area, that this is where you interact with other players, maybe you have your secret bases, maybe you dig for fossils, maybe the digging bros from the wild area reappear in the Sinnoh Underground. And this is the wild area of the Sinnoh remakes. It makes so much sense. It's super easy to see how this comes together. Oh, and by the way, raid dens have always reminded me very specifically of the area where the Hallowed Tower, where you place the odd keystone for Spiritomb. And the way that you activate the Hallowed Tower with the odd keystone is by doing a bunch of stuff in the Sinnoh Underground. So it makes perfectly sense to me that absolutely there's going to be a Gigantamax Spiritomb in those Diamond Pearl remakes. and that the Hallow Tower might be the top of a raid den that extends up through the underground. But that is all just speculation, but I think the latest trailers for these DLC packs kind of confirm it. And that's what I wanted this video to be about. I wanted to recap the news, give you my thoughts and speculation, because look, I can't tell you anything new about the Armor or Crown DLC packs. I don't have any more information than you do. But this trailer came out while I was fully expecting that the next games that we're going to get in the series are going to be Diamond and Pearl remakes. When you look at it in that context and you look at what they're giving us an option to get all of the Regis other than Regigigas, including some new Regis, and making a point of it. Giving us these underground raid areas, and again, new regional variants. I fully suspect again, we will get like Sinnoh forms. And Easy's Floette is gonna be one of them. Okay, that's a little bit out there. All I'm saying is that this all makes complete and total sense to me. The picture is clear. I don't know if we're getting Diamond Pearl remakes this year or if we're getting them next year. If it's just the DLC packs we're getting, I'm excited and I'm happy with that. I'm looking forward to playing them and exploring more. I think the idea that they're doing DLC packs is fantastic. This video was obviously not intended to be part of my original relaunch of the channel, but you know, you can expect videos like this where I'll look at the news and I'll go, okay, what do I think? What do I speculate about that? Where does that take my brain? I was actually planning this week to just have these 5 videos and then not do anything for the rest of the week and then start with my 2 a week after that. But I think now the top 10 Kanto Pokemon video, that's been kicked into later this week. So I guess I'll be consistently uploading at least twice a week for the rest of the year. And if anything else comes up that interests me, I'll be sure to cover it. Of course, please keep your Pokemon theories coming to me in the comments and your speculation, and maybe I'll cover it in a video. Welcome back to the channel, and if you're new here, hey, it looks like it's going to be an exciting year. Let's go through it together. With that being said, of course, so hi Pokemon Masters.
This is Ash Ketchum. You just watched a video by Birdkeeper Toby. That makes you a Pokemon Master.
And a particular Pokemon Master thank you to all of my big patrons this month, including the Nerd Therapist. Thank you.